Overcoming Procrastination. Mindful Cuddles, Session 10. My name is Laura McGregor, and I'm a clinical hypnotherapist at Nourish Victory. It's not always a bad thing to decide to put off doing a piece of work. Sometimes we need to wait before beginning a project. Maybe we have to wait until other tasks have been cleared out of the way. And if a project or task requires creative thinking, then often the unconscious mind may need time to develop ideas and to marinate. And in these times, forcing it will only slow matters down. However, when the only thing preventing us getting started is ourselves, and our lives are less efficient, organized, and successful as they could be, then procrastination can perhaps work against us and our own best interests. Most people have procrastinated at some point. That is, they've put off doing what they know they should really just be getting on with. And some people can spend hours and days or weeks even avoiding getting on with a task that might only take a few hours to do if they just started. The pattern of procrastination goes something like this. Firstly, of course, you know there is something you need to do. Whether that's writing a report for next week or filing your tax returns or preparing a speech or whatever, it doesn't really matter. Secondly, you have the good intention of starting because you know you really should. But then you get this subtle inner feeling of resistance. And maybe it's a feeling of anxiety about the task because it feels too overwhelming and you don't know where to begin. Perhaps you really wanted to do a good job at something and you're scared of not being able to do it well enough, and so you don't dare begin. Or it could be a feeling of sulkiness or rebelliousness because the task you've got to do feels boring or difficult. And when you think about it, and you don't see why, and you just can't see why you should have to do it right now. So the task gets put off as a vague or non-specific future event, something that you'll get around to eventually. And in the meantime, the old displacement activities kick in and somehow daytime TV becomes a priority, or we're going to make a phone call to a friend, or just maybe another cup of coffee, or that snack, or, and you see how it goes. Often at this point in the cycle, we justify our actions by kidding ourselves. There are good reasons for doing these other activities. And in the third phase, the pressure builds. The deadline approaches, or disappointment, disgust, or impatience with ourselves begins to build. Or perhaps your boss or some other outside influence starts to put the pressure on. And with many tasks, there comes a point when it becomes more painful not to begin the task than to put it off again. Maybe it has to be handed in tomorrow, or if the returns aren't sent this very night, the tax office will fine you, or whatever. The job now just has to be done. And fourthly, there is the actual doing of the job itself. It often turns out to be far easier and quicker than all that initial messing around, avoiding getting started, might have indicated. And when the job is done at last, the final step in the procrastination cycle might be this relief at having completed the task, perhaps tinged with a little regret that you didn't just do it in the first place without giving yourself all of that grief. Well, this session is going to help you break free from some of those old procrastination habits for good, by guiding your unconscious mind to release that inner sense of resistance which is at the core of all procrastination. So rather than making each day a struggle and endlessly battling with yourself about the things that need to get done, you'll find that the more you listen to this session, the more you'll notice that you're just calmly and efficiently getting on with things, and that life's becoming much easier, more productive, and more fulfilling as a consequence. Please ensure you do not drive or operate any machinery while listening to this audio recording. In order to get the best results, please find a quiet place where you can focus your attention and intention towards the goals of this recording. This recording is intended to be listened to and shared widely with the public, and therefore should be seen as non-clinical, non-therapeutic hypnosis, and is defined as the use of hypnosis to instill positive thinking and the capacity for self-hypnosis. This recording is intended to be educational in nature, providing information, instruction, support, and encouragement. If you would like to experience deep trance hypnosis as part of a therapeutic session, please book time at nourishvictory.com. If you find this session valuable and you know anyone you think it may help, then I'd ask that you share it with them. I drop a new relaxation audio each Thursday at 9 p.m. Pacific Time. Please be sure to subscribe to our mailing list to never miss a session. You can visit nourishvictory.com for more information. And if your intention is to fall into a deep and sound sleep, please be sure your alarm clock is set. Go ahead and place yourself into a comfortable position. Adjust your body so that you're lying with your legs and feet uncrossed and slightly apart, hands resting loosely in your lap. And if I have your permission to guide you into a calm and relaxing state, then just begin by taking some deep, comfortable breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. And of course, as always, you have the power to accept or reject suggestions as you hear them. And you can practice this in everyday life when you hear something on television or during regular everyday conversations. And of course, you have the power to accept or reject any suggestions that you hear tonight. Please use these two powerful gifts as often as possible, doubling down on things that resonate with your values and integrity by internally thinking, I accept that suggestion, and quickly rejecting things that don't, with I reject that suggestion. And as you begin to relax, I'll bring your awareness to any sounds, just everyday sounds around your house, people or pets in the background, perhaps cars passing by in the neighborhood. And these sounds do not bother or disturb you. As a matter of fact, they help you relax even more comfortably. And of course, at any time, should you need to awaken, you can do so quickly and effortlessly. And now, as you prepare to relax very deeply, you can just close those eyes if you haven't yet. And as you follow along comfortably to the sound of these words, you can breathe nice and smooth and easily. And I'd like you to begin by taking 3 very slow, deep breaths. Allow each breath to be full and deep. And allow each out breath to be very long and smooth, the way you might sigh with comfort and relief at the end of a hard day. And really give yourself this time now to let go into a deeper, calmer, more inwardly focused state where you can connect with a deep sense of purpose, strength, and determination within yourself. So right now, as you follow along to the sound of my voice, breathing comfortably and smoothly, just notice which of those hands feels the most relaxed, the one that's right or the other one that's left. Behind now, any old unnecessary tension can fade away right where it needs to be, left behind as the right kind of comfort for you. Now can begin to permeate both of those hands, relaxing, letting go, that's it. And then a wave of relaxation can flow down through the head, shoulders, knees, and toes, remembering a certain childhood song that a part of your mind can begin to sing gently and slowly at the back of your mind so that it becomes a kind of lullaby. Head relaxing, shoulders relaxing, knees relaxing, toes relaxing, and eyes, 5, and ears, 4, and mouth, 3, and nose, 2, head, shoulders, knees, and 1. That's it. Toes relaxing deeper and deeper. 0 all the way down now. -1, -2, -3. No need for any conscious effort here. Sinking down deeper and deeper. Deeper and deeper. And for a moment now, you can find yourself remembering a particularly enjoyable game you played when you were younger. Maybe a game you played with friends or by yourself. A game you enjoyed when you were very much younger than you are today. That's it. Seeing what you saw with those younger eyes, hearing what you heard with those younger ears, doing something because it was so much fun and because you enjoyed it. And your unconscious mind knows exactly how it feels when you really want to do something, when you really, truly want to get better at something, and how determined and focused you can become at times like that. And you know what it's like, do you not, when you feel focused and absorbed, completely immersed in what you're doing, whether it's something to do with work, or whether it's a hobby or a sport, just something you really love to do, where time just seems to fly by. When you're doing it, distractions fade away, and you're just doing what you're doing without any conscious thought about it. You're in flow, like a writer totally absorbed in the story and characters of their novel. Like a runner who's really exerting themselves on one level while effortlessly in flow, totally absorbed in the race on another level. And there's a deep psychological need within that body and that mind to be stretched, a need for exertion. We didn't evolve to lie on the couch all day. We evolved to thrive by challenging ourselves, stretching ourselves, whether that's sprinting through a forest or solving a problem through intense creative thought. And when you've worked hard on something, when you've really accomplished something you're proud of or satisfied with, maybe a paper you finished writing, or a tidy, well-ordered house you finished cleaning, a project that's finally all done. It feels so good to know you can rest with a clear conscience, or to treat yourself to something really pleasurable or fun because you've done your work for the day. And there are people in your life who can come to your aid here as inner resources for you. People who can remind you of what you're capable of. People who can see the real strengths within you. And a few of these people can begin to gather around you right now, in this inner space in your mind. Maybe you'll see a good friend standing there to your left or your right. Maybe a teacher you really liked and respected. Maybe a much loved relative, or one of your heroes, someone who inspires you to aspire to be better. Really get a sense of several resourceful, inspiring people gathered around you right now. And perhaps one of them rests a hand on your shoulder, and you can notice their words of encouragement, their support, that it's time to make a change, a lasting and permanent change in how you start to really get things done, consistently, professionally, to start taking a much more adult and professional approach to how you live your life. That's it. And right now, allow a task or a project to come to mind. Perhaps a goal that you really, really want and intend to get done, to get down to work on, to finally get it done. And with a calm sense of purpose and flow, surrounded by this inner group of supportive people, here you can just watch a future you now, right there in front of you, starting that activity at a specific time of day in the very near future. See yourself there in the future, getting down to work, and notice how it's easier and simpler than you expected it to be. To just do it now. And then you can just float forwards and merge into this future you. After that task is complete, or if it's a longer project, then get a sense of having finished one very important part of it. Allow yourself to breathe a deep sigh of relief, knowing that you did it and it's done. And notice what this means about you as a person here in the future. That you're starting to accomplish things in a different way, a more adult, organized, professional way. That's it. And as you look back from this point in the future, notice how you overcame any obstacles that got in your way. Notice how you beat resistance, because resistance can take many forms. Resistance can look like the cowardly lion in The Wizard of Oz, who tells you in a trembling, cowardly lion voice that the task is too big, too hard, too difficult, that you aren't good enough to do it. A lion who quakes in his boots and trembles in the face of the task that you've got to do. And you can just notice how you overcame any fear of that task, how you overcame any sense of overwhelm. Perhaps you let go of having to do it perfectly, perhaps by telling yourself, I'll at least do 15 minutes of work on this project now, just 15 minutes. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And then, lo and behold, when you work on something for 15 minutes, you often find yourself naturally getting into the flow of it. And the cowardly lion finds his courage and realizes it's not such a big deal after all. Because you can do this, and you are doing it now. And sometimes resistance can look like a sulky toddler who just doesn't feel like doing the work. And you can really be a kind but firm parent to yourself in times like that, knowing that you can have fun and unwind later. But right now it's time to grow up, to do it whether you feel like it or not. Just as a professional athlete keeps up their training, whether they're in the mood or not, as you discover an adult professionalism in yourself, knowing that when you throw yourself into doing something, as often as not, you soon warm up and get in the mood as you begin to go into flow. And sometimes resistance can look like a distractible kitten, leaping from one bright, shiny thing to another. And that's why it's so helpful to set aside certain periods of time each day to devote yourself to your work or your personal goals, where you turn off your phone, where you disconnect your Wi-Fi. You shut out all distractions, and for several hours each day, you pour your heart and soul, mind and body completely into your work, into your project, into whatever needs to be done, nourishing and feeding the part of yourself that needs challenge, that thrives on being stretched. That's it. And sometimes resistance looks like something that may go on a barbecue, something that requires a little preparation and time just to marinate before it can be cooked so that it is its very best. Sometimes the unconscious mind needs just a little time to develop ideas, and you acknowledge that forcing it can sometimes feel unnatural and will only slow matters down. And you now acknowledge that during these times, you can give yourself permission to wait. And so it's not procrastination at all. Instead, it's an understanding that you've lived many years and met many timescales in the past. And you now know with great certainty your own personal creativity flow. You know how long you need to wait in order for the perfect creative vision to be accomplished. And you no longer berate yourself at these times with ugly self-talk. You can now trust yourself to know when to begin exactly on time, and when you are resisting and procrastinating with other types of resistance in unhealthy ways. And as you look back from this future time, just notice how you step by step, one foot forward, completed this particular task or project with a calm and purposeful sense of focus. With your team of encouraging, supportive inner resources surrounding you and keeping you on track. Notice how resistance might have tried to pull you off course as a trembling lion, a sulky toddler, or a distractible kitten. Yet you calmly, purposefully dealt with resistance each time, bringing a calm, determined, adult professionalism to your work or your personal goals. And you can bring all of these changes right back into the here and now and integrate all that we've been doing here in this session. Feel this calm, focused, adult professionalism flowing up through your spine, making you feel even more upright. And feel it permeate with the very marrow of your bones. That's it. And as you extend this purposeful, organized, productive aspect of yourself out into the world, out into your future, you can leave behind that old, tired procrastination pattern for good. And then just see that specific first step of getting down to work on that future task right there in front of you, as you get a real sense of tingling determination inside. That tingling determination inside you to take action now, to channel a sense of urgency, focus, and purpose into getting done what needs to be done now. That's it. And you can listen to this session often and become more calm, more determined, and productive each time you do. And these positive feelings will stay with you and grow stronger and stronger as you become more and more relaxed. In fact, this relaxed response will become a pleasurable part of your life, and you know you could find something new that brings you joy each day. You could laugh and feel joyful when your feet touch the floor first thing each morning. You could feel happy, grateful, motivated, and even excited to start a new day, leaving behind those old cares and concerns. And maybe you'll even surprise yourself in that you'll find that you're able to let go of things that belong to the past, in their true perspective, as belonging to the past. Old negative memories, old patterns of behavior, and things that raise themselves as barriers against your ability to achieve the things you wish to achieve in your life are now just fading away, and you're seeing them exactly where they should be, over there in the past. And this is allowing your body to come back into its correct balance, This is allowing your mind to feel settled and calm. And this is allowing you to experience a deep sense of inner confidence and contentment. And if you are listening to this recording at your regular bedtime, then you can ignore the following wake-up suggestions and continue to drift and dream, going deeper and deeper, knowing that you will awaken fully refreshed at your usual wake-up time. However, if you're listening to my voice at any other time, then you will accept the suggestions to come out of this restful state and feel all the benefits of this wonderful deep relaxation session. In a moment, I'm going to count the numbers 1 to 5, and at the count of 5, you will be wide awake, feeling already wonderfully invigorated and ready to allow these suggestions to work for you. I'm going to count from 1 to 5, and at that last number 5, I will ask you to open your eyes, have a good stretch, and say out loud the words wide awake. 1, slowly, calmly, easily, you are returning to your full awareness once again. 2, each nerve, muscle, and ligament has benefited from this wonderful time spent inwards. 3, from head to toe, feeling perfect in every way. Physically perfect, mentally perfect, emotionally calm, and serene. 4, you will find that from this moment on, you will have more and more confidence in your everyday life. When you leave your house, colors may be brighter, sounds clearer, and that is simply because you took this time to reconnect with yourself. And 5, opening your eyes and saying out loud the words wide awake, wide awake.